Hi guys, I hope you're having an amazing day. After being on Instagram for so many years, I finally got my first client work from it when last week a DJ DM'd me about my video services and ended up booking me. Shout out to Top Class, thank you very much for trusting me with this project. I uploaded this project 2 days ago to my YouTube channel, but in case you missed it, let's watch it together right now for 2 minutes and then come back and talk about it. In this video I want to share with you 5 tips from my experience with this project, filming an after movie kind of video from a festival when I was in a tight schedule and I had to do everything in 1 hour. 4 of the tips that I'm about to share are things that I did right, but the 5th one is a huge mistake that I made and one that you must avoid. First of all, let me give you an idea about what's actually going on. This festival is called Donauinselfest and it is the largest open-air music festival in the world. It only happens once a year. It takes place on the huge Danube island in Vienna, and there are numerous stages, each playing different kinds of music. My project was on the electronic music stage, where many DJs were playing one after the other, and they all had 1 hour time to play. That means that I also only had 1 hour to get all the shots that I needed. That's all to say that this festival is actually a big deal, and I was quite nervous because I only had a limited amount of time to get all my shots and I didn't know if I would make it. But now let's jump straight to the first tip, the lens. I had to decide between using the 24-70 f2.8 and the 70-200 f2.8 to shoot this project, and I went with a 70-200, which I also have here. The reason why I went with it is because it was a huge place, and even at 70mm it was possible to show how many people were there and to have kind of wide angle shots, opening shots and things like that at 70mm. So that was quite possible. But also the second reason is because I wanted to capture people's emotion as well, and shooting from the stage and being quite far away from everyone, I really needed a telephoto lens to go quite close to their face and capture like their emotions. And I find those kind of shots very important because they're very good at transmitting the feeling to the viewer later. Simply because of human nature, you know, we can easily identify with other people, and when we see other people having fun, then we also understand that this whole place is about fun and people are enjoying it. But this 70-200 is also very useful because when you have a lot of things happening everywhere, you can't be everywhere all the time. Some fun things might happen that are quite far from you and you can't capture them unless you zoom in there to separate that subject from everything else. And this lens allows you to do that. Versus the 24-70, I wouldn't be able to capture many cool moments because I would be quite far, and let's say 2 people or 2 friends having fun together would just look like 2 amongst many, and the viewer wouldn't know at which one of them to look at, which means the moment would have already passed. The second tip is to fake it. When filming a project like this, where time is limited and you only have 1 hour to capture everything, you don't really have to capture and film everything within that 1 hour. You can also be creative and try to film some of the shots before and some of them after the 1 hour performance. For example, I already filmed some shots that you saw on this clip before going to the stage, and some other shots I filmed while I was on the stage and I was waiting for the DJ that I was working with to start his performance, and some other shots I filmed after his performance was completely done. The reason for that was that I wanted to capture the event from different perspectives, and that wasn't really possible to do within that 1 hour time slot that I had, because I wanted to make sure to be on stage during that time and to capture the emotions and the movements from the DJ that I was working with, to not miss any of those. Also, another thing that I faked on this video was the cheering and the applauding of the crowd. And that's kind of obvious if you think about it, because when the crowd there is cheering or applauding, then there is also the music that the DJ is playing on the background, and of course the microphone is gonna pick both the music and the cheering. So then you're gonna end up with the music that you're using for your video and the music that was playing live on stage and the cheering. That's why that doesn't work, so you need some sound effects about the cheering only and with the music that you added. And I think that worked pretty well. So yeah, this isn't a live event, remember to fake it. Moving on, the third tip is to keep it short. All the clips that I shot there were at 60 frames per second, so when slowed down to 24 frames per second and put on a timeline, I had about 2 hours of footage. And from those 2 hours of footage, I only made the clip 2 minutes long. The reason for that is because if you respect your audience as a filmmaker, then you should only deliver to them the important parts, only show the important parts and deliver the main feeling. There's a reason why live streams exist. If people want to see everything about it, then that's the kind of video that they go. But when you take a project like an after movie kind of thing, then you're supposed to shrink it down to the most important moments. I think the simplest way to illustrate this is by looking at short form content. When you have a lot of content creators making videos like 10 to 20 seconds long, and they manage to convey a feeling and a message in that time. So when they are able to do it in 10 to 20 seconds, then 2 minutes should also be enough for you to convey a message. Of course, you could also do it in 1 minute when maybe you want to do that, but I personally don't want to rush it so much, so I just took a little bit more time and I made it 2 minutes long. It's so warm in here, I had to close the door so that you don't hear the noise from the street, and now I'm really sweating. Anyways, the fourth tip is to be brave and daring. It is very easy to feel overwhelmed when you are on a stage, especially if you are a bit introverted. Even though you aren't the star at all and people are generally paying attention to the performer, in this case the DJ, still sometimes when you are in those kind of situations you might find yourself wanting to hide behind a crowd. At least there was a small crowd in this stage, but even if not a crowd, then you might want to hide behind some curtains or some objects so that you don't feel visible, and then you will try to only shoot from there. But the problem with that is that you will miss a lot of opportunities and a lot of great shots if you only do that. That's what I mean when I say that you have to be brave, because you have to go close to get some close-up shots of the DJ, or go to the very front part of the stage and get some footage of the crowd without anything blocking the view or standing on the way. But also, if you go to the very front of the stage, you might have some space to turn backwards and film your DJ from the front. And you will really thank yourself if you take those shots once you are in the editing process afterwards. And I actually have a trick, you might want to say it, to deal with this situation. It is simply by focusing on the work that you're doing. So I always try to focus on the camera and see if all the settings are right, to see if my subject is in focus and all those kinds of things. And I find that helpful when it comes to ignoring the thought that there are so many people there looking in your direction and possibly looking at you. My fifth and final tip would be to make it a habit to, from time to time, always check on your settings. I kind of messed it up this time myself. I don't know if you noticed it, but except from some clips in the beginning that were shot in 4K 60, which is how I wanted everything to be shot, the rest of them were shot at 1080p at 60 frames per second for some reason. I don't even remember when I switched from 4K to 1080p, but apparently I did very early on, and so all the clips after that were in lower quality than they could have been, and that still haunts me today. But I don't know if you noticed it without me telling it to you, but yeah, that is very important to from time to time check your settings. I think the reason why I didn't notice it is because I'm coming from a Canon EOS R, and there I used to shoot in 1080p almost all the time. So when I saw that it was saying full HD 60 frames per second on the camera, it didn't jump to me like something was wrong. It just looked like that's normal, and with all the pressure and the things that we talked about before, it completely flew under my radar, let's say. So yeah, these were the 5 tips that I wanted to share from this experience. I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to shoot this project. I hope you like the final result, and I also hope you like the 5 tips. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel to not miss similar videos like this in the future. Goodbye.